Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today and great to have you with me. Today we are looking at what this person really wants from you. Now we'll break the reading down by having a look to see who this person is, what is it they actually want from you. We'll look at the past, the present and the future in terms of an outcome here. Lots to get into. Before we get started, if you're interested in becoming a Patreon subscriber, you can go down below and have a look in the description box. There's plenty of information on how to go about doing that. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to this video. Now, before you on the screen, you've got two different symbols to choose from, and the idea is to choose a symbol that comes through for you strongly. Once you've made that choice, that will be your reading. It's perfectly fine to choose more than one symbol if it resonates with you. And remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. Now, I'll leave you to make the choice of your symbol. Once you've done that, there are two different timestamps below, and I will see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to symbol number one. This is your reading. We're looking at what this person really wants from you today. So let's jump in and have a look. I'm going to start over here in the past with the Hermit and the Ace of Wands. I feel like this person has been waiting in the balance for a really long time here in the past. I feel like they've had their eye on you and they've been keeping a close watch on what you're doing, what you're about. I feel like they have a really deep understanding of you as a person in a way where their feelings run very deep. I feel like this is somebody who feels very passionate about you and they want to strike up an opportunity that ignites some kind of connection. I feel like this is a very deep and passionate longing to engage with you in a way that tries to get something started. I get a very cautious person on that level. I feel that they've been waiting off and not wanting to make the wrong move or mess things up in a way that maybe give you the wrong idea about who it is that they are. This person definitely knows how they feel about you. I feel like they've really watched on and figured you out and figured out how it is that they feel about you in a way that is very considered. I get a very deep and thoughtful person here that really reflects on things in a way that is very thorough in terms of their understanding. I don't feel that this person has been ready or felt that you're ready to receive them in a way that that takes that opportunity into an opportunistic sort of, I guess, level of engagement. I think this person has given you a lot of subtle signals over a very long period of time. I feel that that's been really consistent, that they've made very kind of positive, opportunistic comments or physical signals or said things through other people in a way that they're intending to kind of, you know, let you know maybe how it is that they feel without being so direct. I don't get anybody coming at you here in a way that is trying to steer you in a direction that you don't want to go in. But I do feel that the signs have definitely been very subtle and consistent. I don't feel like this person has worried about time though. There's no bearing on impatience here. You know, like this feels like somebody who is willing to wait it out for as long as it really takes. And that they're very patient to wait for that moment where they make engagement or make contact with you in a way that is just right. Yeah. I feel down here with the World and the Nine of Pentacles that you've been very preoccupied with other things that have been going on in your life here in the past. So in contrast, I think this person has certainly gotten your attention. I feel like you've actually signaled back to this person in a way where you're saying that you see them. Maybe there's been some kind of contact, but I don't feel like it's been deep and meaningful. It feels very surface level or distant. I think there is an acknowledgement there between the two of you in a way that says that maybe there is some sort of an attraction. I feel this person has definitely caught your gaze and that you feel that this is a very strong potential in terms of what this could provide you in terms of a relationship potential. I think at the same time, I feel like you're very engaged in your own world, that you actually have your hands on other things in a way that have been very fulfilling and that have also taken a lot of energy for you to attend to. I feel like you are a sort of a very independent and accomplished person within your own right. And I feel like you're saying here within these two cards that you see this person, you kind of get the signals, but you don't know whether this is the right time or whether this is really what it is that you want. And also, I feel like you're not yearning for a relationship. I don't feel like you need somebody to define you in a way that says, this is who it is that I am because I'm in a relationship. So I feel in that respect that you're not necessarily ready for romance. I wondered whether for some of you, maybe you're playing the field here, whether you're seeing other people. And if you're not seeing other people, I definitely feel like you've got other things going on in your life where a relationship or this person is certainly not a priority. I feel like you've got enough going on here in a way where there is credible evidence that stacks up in a way that says, you know what, I've got other things going on that define who it is that I am, that are giving me a sense of accomplishment, that my world is enriched with me, and I don't need to necessarily have anybody else to be a part of that. I think your success and sense of self-worth in these two cards is not wrapped up in the idea of a relationship. And I think at the same time, a part of you is interested in this person, but it's in a very light touch way. If I come up here to Justice and the Ten of Pentacles in the here and now, this person, in terms of what is it they want from you, is very much ready to be delivered in terms of like a full mic drop. You know, I just feel here with these two cards that this person has come to a place where they're very concretely, I guess, concluded that they want to settle down with you. This person is in a place where they want to have a relationship and they want to settle down. They want to have children. I feel this person is taking their life very seriously in terms of investing into a relationship and starting up a family. I get a sense here that they've really weighed things up. This is a very considered person. This is not somebody who flits around, who does light touch. I think that this person has really looked afar and watched you and the potential of who it is that you are, that they've seen who it is that they really like and that they want to be involved with you in a way where they see you as being somebody who is the ideal kind of person to settle down with and have a family. I get a feeling here that this person is in the process of organizing their life in a way that is very materially focused. I feel like their finances, their security is very much in place in a way where they're trying to put all of their ducks in a row to prepare for the idea of having a relationship. I feel like a strong set of values that come through here in a way where maybe this person has actually been brought up with this sort of an expectation to settle down and to have a family, to have children, to integrate into a community or into an extended family that is all about hitting those notes of just kind of fulfilling the idea of a really strong institutional, I guess, maybe also almost a little bit conservative way of living life where you've got family and children and the security, and your identity is very much wrapped up in this proposition. And I feel that this person sees that you're a perfect partner to share their life with in a way where they're ready to settle down. And I think that this person feels that that's right. They feel very right with you. They feel very right in terms of the timing, that this is something that they've been waiting for a very long time to nail in terms of, you know, putting down roots. I feel like this is a holistic desire based on a feeling that not only are you the right person, but that it is the right time for them, and they've been waiting for this time to come along. And I feel that they want to build a world with you and provide for you on that level. So I think from a security point of view of having that kind of life, this is somebody who really delivers a very strong proposition. And I feel that this person is ready to do that. If they haven't already hinted at it, I feel that that's just in the balance in a way where they're about to maybe land all of this on you in a way that says, do you want to do this with me? Now, if I come down here to the Moon and the Ace of Pentacles, I think by contrast for yourself here, in the present, I feel a lot of uncertainty as to what that means. I think you've caught the signals here with the Ace of Pentacles. I think you can see that this person is about to deliver that, or that they embody this idea of an opportunity that gives an enormous amount of security for the future. I think that you can see that that kind of commitment would actually change your life for the better. It would give you certainty. I think here with the moon, because this is kind of coupled with uncertainty, a sense of feeling uneasy about security. Maybe this person can give you the kind of life that is promised to, I think, everybody in some way, but it feels idealistic. It feels like maybe this is something that you shouldn't refuse, that this is a really amazing offer. So on the surface, it looks really enticing. It's like, what's not to like about it? It makes so much sense. But here with the moon, I just feel deep down there's something that doesn't sit right with you. It's not landing in a way that solidly convinces your instinct or your gut feeling that this is really what it is that you want. And I think deep down there's this idea of establishing a really strong foundation here with the Ace of Pentacles, which kind of reflects the values of this person, that this is something that leaves you to feel that maybe that's out of your depth. Is that really what it is that I want? It looks like it's actually the right kind of proposition. It would give me an enormous amount of security, but underneath this, it really rubs me the wrong way almost. I feel there's something I just don't feel right about it. It's a major commitment that isn't sitting well with me. And I think also here with the moon, it kind of is indicative of a pull, like an instinctual, unconscious pull in a different direction to the sort of security or the sort of life that this person is presenting to you. I feel in many ways that there is a yearning for a different kind of life that may be much more unconventional, like the dark side or the flip side of something that is very bright and secure in terms of what this person is saying that they can offer. And I feel from that point of view that there is something else that is calling you in a very, very different direction. And I get a sense here that you're being pushed and pulled by the idea of security, of familiarity, of a family life that would present really well in terms of validating your purpose, maybe validating the kinds of values that this person represents. But then you're also a very different person. I think that you're very independently minded, strongly capable, and that right from the beginning here, you've been uncertain in a way that has said that I don't really need a relationship. I don't necessarily need the success of somebody else to validate me because I can do things quite independently on my own. Where's this all going in terms of an outcome? We come over here to the Chariot and the Ten of Swords. I feel over here, actually, no, I'm going to come back down here to the Star and the Four of Cups. I feel here there's a definite outcome here that is distinct and that says, this is not what it is that I want. From an emotional point of view, I just don't feel that this is going to fulfill me. I think maybe also here there's this kind of sense of knowing what your boundaries are by about this point and knowing that you need to assert a no or assert some kind of answer that maybe this isn't what this other person wants to hear, and maybe this isn't what other people want to hear. Maybe the people around you or your family are sort of saying that this is a really strong opportunity. But I think deep down here, there's a definite sense of saying to yourself, I don't want to do this to please other people, And I feel like here, you've come to a point where you're saying that I'm not afraid to say no, despite what other people might say. Despite the fact that this is going to really let this person down. I feel like you're going to put your own interests first here in a way that says that you feel really clear and that this isn't right for you and that this is kind of a pushback in many ways. I think that you're going to want to keep your distance from this person in a way that says, look, I need to protect myself. I don't want to feel vulnerable in a situation where I'm forced into something that it is that I don't really want to do. I think also here, I get a sense that you're going to push back on this person, and I really feel that this person isn't going to like what they're hearing to start with. The other thing that came up for me here was this sense of maybe wanting to see other people, that this person doesn't resonate with you at a level that really convinces you or that necessarily makes you feel happy at an emotional level. And I feel here that you're looking to maybe have other experiences, whether that's actually playing the field, seeing other people, or whether that's actually about doing your own thing in a way that is outside the context of this person. I feel up here with the Chariot and the Ten of Swords, this person is going to take this in a way where they didn't see it coming. I think they're going to be really shocked, incredibly disappointed. I think that the Ten of Swords here, this person is saying that they're absolutely devastated. They just, this has kind of come from a place where they weren't expecting you to let them down. I think it'll stop them dead in their tracks in a way where they've got nothing to say about it. I don't feel that this person will know how to respond because they'll just be kind of left for dead on it. I feel that this person is lying flat on the ground here with the Ten of Swords in a way where there is no recoil, there is no recourse, there really isn't anything else that they can say. I just feel that this person will be incredibly gutted in a way where they won't continue to try and convince you that this is something that they want or that should happen. I don't feel that there's any call here to reconsider what's going on in a way that kind of pushes you into a corner. I think this person will accept that this is over in a way where it feels very undignified for them. I get that they're going to feel really hurt here in a way where they're kind of left reeling on that level, that their ego is very bruised here with the Chariot. I think this person will just not have seen this coming, and I feel that they'll realize that this is actually the end of the road in a way where there's no more efforts that are going to be made in order to try and press along with this. I think this is a person with enormous strength and resilience, and despite the disappointment, that they will just move on in a very uncomplicated way. And I don't feel that this is going to be a messy situation or where there's going to be any emotional kind of difficulty in terms of having to deal with them. I think it's going to be over and out. I have to say here, I just don't feel that this is something that it is that you really want from the start. I think that the pressure here from this person in terms of their values, I think in terms of the weight of what it is that they're going to ask of you in terms of a commitment will be very confronting. But at the end of the day, I just don't see that you're actually ready for this, or that this person really feels like they're the right person for you. So for my Patreon followers, if you'd like to hold for a moment, I'll be with you in a second. For everybody else, if you want to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to symbol number 2. This is your reading. We're looking at what this person really wants from you today. So let's jump in, have a look and see what's going on. I'm going to start up here with the Empress and the Two of Cups. This is the other person and it's in the present, in the here and now. I'm going to jump straight into what they really want from you. I feel like this person is asking for forgiveness, and I get a sense here that they're apologizing to you. They want forgiveness. I feel like this person has a lot of answers for you that would help you to reconnect with them in a way that allows things to be more intimate and closely related in a way where you're just on the same page. I feel that they are saying to you that they not only want to be together with you, but that you mean everything to them. They want to be with you. They want to be together. I feel like they're making an enormous amount of an effort to give you some sign that shows confidence in their ability to be able to be sensitive to your needs. I feel that this person is saying all of the right things, doing all of the right things. It doesn't feel like they're putting a foot out of place. I feel this person is very present and in the moment and just really connecting with you in a way that allows you to feel them. I feel like this person is saying they want to make up for lost time, and that they're very much here in the now, and just wanting to, I think, generate a fertile outcome in terms of reconnecting and emotionally having an experience that shows you that they really love them, that they really love you. I feel that this is very intimate and personalized in a way where this person is really making enormous efforts to show you confidence, right? That they really mean this. And I feel like this reads very authentically. I don't get a sense that this person's lying. I don't feel like this person is trying to mess you about. It feels like this person is also saying that they've turned a new leaf and that it, and that somehow this is everything that you could possibly want, really. I just think that this person is all eyes on you, and that they're really trying to show you that they love you, that you mean an enormous amount to them. They want to be with you, and that they don't really have anything that they can say or do more than they're already doing and saying now to be able to articulate that. So I think this person is really calling on you to trust them, and to see them from a very authentic, heartfelt place. Now, I want to go into the past because I feel like this is a really polarized experience as to what's been going on back over here in Temperance and the King of Swords. And I feel like in the past, this person has ended it all with you in a way that's been really selfish. I feel like they took everything away. You know, I just feel like they've pulled the rug out from underneath your feet in a way where it was really brutal. And they took control. I think the thing for me with these two cards, this person took control in a way where they took your power away from you. They had the last say. And I think they had a lot to say as well. And I don't think that you saw it coming. So I kind of feel like they had something over you in a way that just made you look really bad. And that this wasn't amicable. I feel like this person blamed you for everything. And I think that they were very cruel and cold-hearted about the way that they did that. It feels quite unforgiving in terms of how it is that they saw you. I feel like they've seen you as being the problem, and they've had a lot to say about what that really means. I think that they've used you as a scapegoat or painted you out as being the problem in a way that makes it easy for them to get out, right? And I feel like they did leave. I feel like this person, if they were living with you, they left. If they were living near you or in the same town as you, you never heard from them again. Or maybe they just kind of moved on and that was it. You know, maybe they moved to a different city, a different country. It does feel really brutal. I just kind of feel like it's very definitive. It's kind of the last step in kind of axing the relationship and turning that back on you in a way where they've just moved on, quite literally. I didn't feel that this person wanted to ever see you again, and if that wasn't the case for you, I think that you thought maybe you would never see them again. I felt like this was really damaging for you as well, in a way that just it left you a lot to figure out, and it went so deep and so hard. It was so cold that kind of left you reeling, and I feel that rebuilding from that was actually very difficult. And if I come down here to the Chariot and the Page of Swords, I feel with these two cards here in the past with yourself, I feel like you're it's like you've been hit by a freight train, really. I just don't feel like you saw this coming. I feel like it tripped you up. I feel like it took you by surprise, and that it just shattered you to a lot of pieces, really, and it took a very long time for you to kind of mess about, really, to pick all of that up. It just feels to me that getting back on your feet wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Moving on from what it is that had happened took an enormous amount of processing. Here with the Page of Swords, there's just lots of questions, really trying to figure things out in a way where you're detailing every aspect of every part of the relationship in that person and yourself in a way that just picks over it. Here with the Chariot, I think you've driven really deeply into this thought process of just kind of analysing, and I don't think a lot of what they said sat well with you. I think it rubbed you up the wrong way. I think this person said some really cutting, cruel things. Because I feel here with Temperance, I feel like you're really close. I feel like this is a very strongly intimate relationship. Again, you can see why that's kind of looking so obvious here with the Two of Cups and the Empress. I just feel back here, you've had some time together here, and if you haven't had a lot of time, it just feels like it was an intensive relationship where you shared an enormous amount. For some of you, I would have said that was not just about sharing emotions and intimacy, it was about sharing a life together. and that's not just having experiences. It's about practical stuff as well. Maybe, who gets the toaster, living together and having to go through stuff in a way that just feels really like final, and I do feel here, back down here with the Chariot and the Page of Swords, I just felt like this left your confidence totally broken. And you're trying to sort of figure out, why did they say all of this? I kind of feel like in your head it's just kind of spinning around and you're questioning, how could I have gotten all of this so wrong? How, and also is that feeling like, maybe I should have said this to them when they were there. You're kind of thinking about how you kind of could have come back to them really hard. Maybe I should have responded this way, should have said this, or I should have done that. But because you didn't, you kind of left thinking about it. And the reason why is because this person took your power away. They had the last word. And they took you by surprise in a way where you did not see this coming. So I kind of feel like this dynamic here in the past is one where there's been a huge undermining of your circumstances, of your confidence, but also of your trust. I feel like you've lost total trust in this person. Back over here to the Star, in the present here for you, in the here and now, and I feel like everything for you is feeling like it kind of feels like it's back on track. I feel like you're giving this person another go. Here with the Ace of Pentacles, I feel it's one step at a time, but I do feel that you have given it a little bit of time. I feel for many of you that some time has passed where things are back on track. I kind of feel like you're seeing this person again. Things are moving in a direction where it feels more confident. It feels focused, purposeful, mindful in a way where you are trying to manage what's going on in a way where you don't fall back into a vulnerable position here with the Star. And so I do feel like you've regained confidence in yourself. I feel like what this person has actually said to you, how you're feeling their sentiment, I feel like you're feeling this is honest and true. And I do feel that what this person wants from you right now is honest. I think it's true. Yeah, it reads as genuine. They're really being very heartfelt about that. And I feel here you're keeping a real sort of eye on the way things are developing. And I think you're being very, very careful not to put yourself into a vulnerable position. And the early initial stages of how you're getting along together looks really, really promising. Things are moving forwards in a very steady way where I feel like you're kind of on top of it and that nothing is wobbling. Everything feels trusted. I feel like your trust in this person is beginning to rebuild in a way where you're letting them back into your life. I also feel here that the two of you are somehow planning things here, both with the Empress and with the Eight of Pentacles. I just feel these are very industrious cards that are about creating fertile outcomes and moving towards goal setting. And I just feel that the two of you are on track to maybe look to rebuild your lives together in a way where there are certain accomplishments that you actually want to tick off in terms of your relationship. And that could be very practical in terms of just, reaching certain goals, whether it's moving in together, whether it's about having bank accounts or building towards some sort of practical life together. I just feel like there is a level of engagement here that feels very like it's flourishing, like things are moving forward, and the trust that you have back together here in a way is really seeding this whole potential for life to really flourish in a way that gives you an enormous amount of reward. Okay, so it kind of feels very positive. I feel here with Judgment and the Five of Wands that the outcome here in terms of this person's timeline is one that starts to get very checkered, very hit and miss. I feel that this person begins to grip on the development of the relationship in a way that becomes very controlling. I feel like they're all over everything in a way that becomes challenging. You want to do something together, or you have something that you want to do for yourself. I just feel like that's been scrutinized in a way where they're all over it. I feel that this person is really looking over the relationship, looking over the progress, the development, the pathways in a way that becomes overly challenging. I feel like this person is beginning to make things really complicated. I just don't feel like it stays easygoing. And I feel like it gets really serious here. I just kind of feel like that there is heat building in a almost argumentative, challenging way that loses the sense of connectedness from an emotional point of view that you actually have here with the Two of Cups. I feel that this person will become quite overly complicated in terms of their process of you and what's going on with the both of you, of your lives together. I feel like this person is starting to blame you for things here again. I feel like they're calling you out on certain things, challenging you in the way that you're doing certain things. I just feel like they're breathing down your neck in a way that makes you feel like you've got to look over your shoulder. Maybe just in terms of a behavioral pattern, this person is also saying things to other people that calls you out, makes you look bad, or kind of trips up the confidence of the relationship in a way that doesn't feel like it's right. It doesn't feel like it's trustful. I just don't feel like anything is straightforward on any single level, both socially, independently within yourself, but also within the dynamic of the relationship. I just feel that this person is going to be all over everything, and it just doesn't feel that things are working out again, right? It feels like every and also everyone else and everything else is also the problem. There are constantly problems that this person is pointing out where they're not just making you into the scapegoat, but they're also making other things or other people into the scapegoat. If I come down here to the World and the Ten of Wands, I feel for yourself here. I think it's just going to get increasingly heavy in a way where you're feeling like you're carrying the burden of wanting to push towards an outcome that actually gives you the success and fulfillment that you really want. You know, this person in the present is really giving you an enormous amount of confidence. You've regained your trust in them. They're being incredibly intimate and emotionally they've opened up to allow you back in, or for you to allow them back in, and things are moving forward. And so you begin to make this momentum really here with the Chariot back in the past. I think this is the thing about you, is that you are a very highly focused, success-orientated person. And if you see a problem, as you do, say, for example, here with the Page of Swords, you're the type of person that wants to work through that issue to get a successful outcome. You like to be clear sailing. You like things to be practical and methodical and achievable in terms of giving it a steadfast and consistent effort to reach the goal in terms of this particular situation here with the World. You know, you're wanting fulfillment with this person. You're wanting to work through the problems. You're wanting to be constructive in terms of your outcomes. But here with the Ten of Wands, I just feel like you hit this point where it's like you're banging your head against a brick wall. And no matter how hard you push, it feels like it's near, but it never feels like it's near enough. It's near, but far. I feel like everything is pushed onto you here by this person. They're kind of piling it on. You're responsible to do everything, you know, whether it's practical, whether it's about the dynamic of your relationship and trying to work things out, whether it's actually trying to make a success of the relationship in general. I just kind of feel like it's bearing down on your shoulders where it becomes a real burden. I want to just say a word of warning here. You're the type of person who seems to be very much the type of person who takes it on and pushes through in a way where you want to get success because you are success orientated. Yeah. I think the problem for me here is that this person is blocking you from intimacy again. I don't feel like this person is letting you in as they are here in the present. I feel like they're throwing up blocks. They're throwing up obstacles. Everything becomes overly complicated. I feel like you're carrying the burden in terms of trying to get this to the successful outcome that you want to achieve, and that this falls on your shoulders, and that you're the type of person that will push and push and push to make it so. I just really feel here that this idea of pushing onwards leaves you kind of locked into a mindset where you fail to see the signs of opposition and that you're actually doing this alone again. I just want to come back over here to Temperance and the King of Swords. This person is a really tricky, insecure individual who finds it very difficult to open up and actually share anything. And although they are doing that here in a way where they're letting you in because they really want to be with you, I feel that this behavior in the future is a reflection of the past coming back to haunt them. I don't feel that this person feels that they can work through these issues in a way where they're responsible for themselves to be able to take on what's going on in a way that owns the problem. I feel there is a tendency to shift the burden of not only responsibility, but also of the responsibility of blame onto somebody else. Be careful here. This person's the type of person that falls into playing games. For my Patreon followers, if you'd like to hold for a moment, I'll be with you in a second. For everybody else, if you'd like to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon. That'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is I do, and how you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care.